Okay, so we're in crisis at the moment. We're spending about 3 billion a year export on fuels. Now that's for electricity generation, the oil, gas and coal that we currently import. Spirit of Ireland can deliver the savings in this. We can deliver energy independence for Ireland within 5 years, or accommodations and steps up to that direction. We're also talking about having a major export potential, both in terms of power to the UK and to France through the growing amount of interconnectors, and also in creating an energy infrastructure industry here that can also generate significant export potential. What this is all about, we have a lot of poor land in the west of Ireland. We're going to go to somewhere between 10 and 15% unemployment nationally, but of course in the west of Ireland you're going to have that effect seen much more in a much more focused way. We're talking about farming families in the west of Ireland creating wind cooperatives. We have one wind farm cooperative in West Clare where there was a little bit of Pure a couple of weeks ago. And what he's talking about is on their mountainside with 29 other families. For hundreds of years they've been mining the natural resource of turf on the mountain. And for about the last 20 years they've been mining forestry on the mountain, and now they're proposing a 100 megawatt wind farm, and they're going to mine the wind. And it's just a case of Western farmers, Western communities getting together and using the natural resources that we have. Spirit of Ireland effectively is an enabler for that. As a simple flat line, on top of paying back the debt of the project, we are going to reduce electricity prices sharply. Have an idea of how much we can send electricity out onto the system at about 8-9 cents per kilowatt hour. As industry customers, you're currently paying, and SME customers, you're currently spending between 12, 13 and 14 cents per kilowatt hour. We're generating whole new industries. At the moment, we've got some fantastic innovation in the engineering sector. Companies like CNF in Athenry, Moffat in Monaghan, where they're building wind turbines, albeit at a smaller scale than the ones we're talking about. But the project like this can create new industries, can allow Enterprise Ireland to go into companies and with a couple of years head start can tool them up to produce the kind of equipment and manufacturing capability that we need for the project. By 2020, the plan is to reduce gas from 60 to 40 and to increase renewables from 11% to 40%, with oil and peat significantly reduced. Coal is always going to be a mainstay because it's very cheap power and because we've invested so heavily in Moneypoint, and Moneypoint is a very large electrical generation station. 10% of Ireland's wind is coming up in Donegal, 11% Mayo, 8% Galway, 8% in Kerry, 4%. In other words, it's the western seaboard. However, where the electrical grid to actually collect that wind power doesn't exist across the west of Ireland or Donegal. If you want to export, if you want to start generating serious cash for the country, then you have to make a decision about having more windmills and more of our space given over to energy infrastructure. We can generate up to 5 billion a year in exports relatively easily. We've already been talking to potential customers in the UK and indeed France. The solution clearly has been windmills. We capture the energy from the wind. We want to connect the windmills via our own private grid network to hydro storage reservoirs. We need the storage reservoirs to make it usable and commercial. We need to improve aspects of the grid to make it sustainable for the amount of power that we're going to be able to generate and put onto the system. And we need national understanding and determination to make it happen. That comes from grassroots, from farmers, from communities, from business people, all the way through to our elected representatives. Turlock Hill is one of only 200 pump storage facilities in the world in County Wicklow, built in 1974. You have the top of a mountain was lopped off. They created an upper lake. They amended a lower lake that was already there. And in here, they've tunnelled underneath to build in generators and pen stocks and so on. So at night time, when the energy is relatively cheap, it's about 2 cents a kilowatt hour from, say, Moneypoint, they pump the water uphill. And in daytime, when there's big rushes and when they can predict big rushes of energy usage, they allow the water to flow downhill through turbines in here, and it generates power. It's quite a simple concept. It's an artificial hydroelectric dam. What we have is valleys in the west of Ireland. These are unique for a large number of reasons. They have the right proportion of igneous rock. It's mainly basalt and granite, which is essentially non-porous to water. They have a floor height of about 100 metres above sea level, but they're only about 2 kilometres from the sea. And 3 sides, if you imagine them as a reservoir or a potential reservoir, 3 sides of them are already built by the glaciers millions of years ago. And all that would be required is to dam one side of it, and you have a Turlock Hill, except 40, 50, 60 times bigger than Turlock Hill for 10 to 15 times less money. It's worthwhile saying that we have about 50 of these valleys identified, which tiers down in order of priority: top 25, a top 12, effectively a top 6. The windmills are going to be near the coast across the west of Ireland. They're generating wind capacity. We build our own private connection network. It's used to pump the water uphill into a natural reservoir that has been dammed. So the power through our own collection network, small scale telephone pole sized collection network, fills the reservoir. The reservoir is used to generate power, and when the wind stops, the power is coming back out to the grid. What we've done there is we've changed wind power from being undispatchable. We've identified 50 locations across the west coast. I mean, these red dots are approximate, so don't go digging out your ordnance survey maps too quickly. Donegal is a strong centre for them. Some of the best ones are in Mayo and North Galway. There's quite a few down the Brandon Peninsula and some down in West Cork. Step one was energy independence within 5 years, the €10 billion stimulus. To build 2,500 wind turbines and install them to our grid will cost about €9 billion. Building the private connection network, telephone pole style electrical network, will cost about €450 million. The energy storage reservoirs, our calculations are about 800 million each. That's based on certain geographic characteristics that will change slightly when we go down to the actual valleys. We need to transmit the power from the pump storage units back into the electrical grid at a cost of about 340 million. It's about 11.4 billion in total. It's ambitious, it's big, and it's all from the private sector. The ownership model is going to be something a little bit unique. We're going for approximately a 50-50 debt-equity ratio. The debt is coming from the European Investment Bank and a variety of sovereign funds. We have a wide list of people who have come to us since May the 7th when we went public, asking can they get involved in the investment side of the plan. And we'll lend down to local county co-ops, and the company will retain an equity stake in that. So the county co-ops will have local ownership. They'll put in some equity, they'll get some equity from the overall Spirit of Ireland PLC, and there'll be debt funding to provide for the major investment in the wind farms. It's about 85% of the total cost, and that'll be replicated across various county co-ops. What that means is that the counties that participate in the Spirit of Ireland project have direct ownership, have direct revenue sharing. In terms of job creation, I won't go through all of these in detail. The kind of 30,000 direct employed in Spirit of Ireland in operations and maintenance of the project, in the windmills, the pump storage units, but also production of the wind turbines, production of the wiring, production of the masts. We're talking electricians, technicians, architects, draftsmen. They're all high value jobs. We know we've lost jobs. IDA have told us we've lost jobs because of our energy costs. We know that Irish management in certain companies haven't even put themselves forward for further investment because they can't justify the numbers to European and to American headquarters. The benefits for Ireland, to sum up, we can use the natural energy resources which we now have. We didn't have when we were in school back in the days before wind turbines were developed and developed to the efficiencies that they are now. We can talk about our CO2 emissions, we can reduce them, we can hit Kyoto targets. We've had the big switch in the energy sector launched in February this year, but this can be the powerful switch that transforms our country and our economy. It is privately funded. Somebody suggested to me earlier on that how can we keep this project out of government hands? The government don't want this project. They know it's privately funded. They know it's been driven forward by the private sector, and they're happy to facilitate that. And we want them to continue on that vein. That's the Spirit of Ireland project in a very quick nutshell. It's a lot of information to get through in all the different facets. So I'm happy to take questions now or indeed afterwards, and I thank you for your time.